I spit Patron on this microphone. Watch out, I'm in the zone, worth for everything I own. Life is March Madness, one mistake, then you go. Yeah, I had a stroke, but your boy still rhyming. And Fresh got locked, but the squad still wildin'. Catch me in any city in the hood, we grindin'.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is a fight that took place on Friday. It was Daniel Jacobs versus Gabe Rosado. And, it seems like there was some issues with the decision, and you can take a look.
Declaring your winner by split decision from Philadelphia, from Brooklyn, New York, Daniel Jacobs.
So if you're not familiar with the fighters, basically they announced Gabe Rosado as the winner at first from Philadelphia, and then the announcer goes from Brooklyn, New York, Daniel Jacobs. So they raised Gabe Rosado's hand, and then Daniel Jacobs is actually the winner. And so then Gabe was just lost his stuff. But in addition to that, it was an extremely close fight. And so I'll let everybody dive into it from their perspective, and I'm gonna start tuning off with Trill Dollar Bill.
How I felt about this fight, this was hard. This was hard, right? Because if y'all listen to the podcast, I gave this big shout out to Gabe Rosario, and I gave y'all his backstory about, how he's always gets the bad raw deal. He always catches a raw deal. Either he gets stopped by cuts or something. They didn't give him a last minute something, or he doesn't get the decision on the scorecards. There's always something when it comes to Gabe. Like, there's people like Gabe and Badu Jack, and there's other people, you know what I'm saying, that they just don't get the calls, they don't get the love, they don't get certain things, right? They just don't get the breaks. Danny Jacobs, well, that's different. I want to stick on Gabe. Gabe, I like you, Gabe. I like you a lot. And I seen you learned how to box on the job. That's what I was telling people last week. You have to love Gabe. Gabe is a guy who came from nothing, and he wanted to box, so he had to learn through trial and error. He didn't have the amateur program and stuff like that. He learned while being in the ring. So he ended up taking his. That's why you look at his record, you might say, oh, why he got this many losses? Because he didn't have the programs and the setups and the big promotions and everything. He got to where he got to off of heart and grit. That was wrong what they did to him last Friday. If you wasn't going to give him the victory, you had to give him a draw, because I didn't see Danny Jacobs even if you wanted to give Danny Jacobs the fight, I had it a draw at least. You know what I'm saying? Even though I thought Gabe boxed beautiful, I thought that he did what he needed to do. Danny Jacobs was the guy that was saying that he was out of his league, that he was on a there was levels to this. I didn't see that in that ring. I didn't see that there was levels to this. I didn't see like Danny Jacobs was just this big, extreme, over-the-top athlete more than Gabriel. I didn't see that. You know what I'm saying? I seen that this was equal in competition. If anything, they should be doing it again. Daniel Jacobs is talking about, oh, he sees people far ahead now. You didn't beat Gabe. And you talking like that, like you washed him and he was nobody in there. Nah, I didn't see that, because we done seen Gabe in there in tough fights, and that wasn't a tough fight for Gabe. Gabe still had more in his tank to me, and Tank could have did more. My only beef is he didn't go in there that last round and try to take that last round. That was my only beef with that with Gabe in that fight. But Gabe is the poor guy, man. I want to see him again. I want to see Gabe again. Poor guy. He never gets a fair shake. When he does, there's always some bull crap. I just didn't. I like Daniel Jacobs. You know what I'm saying? Outside of the bull crap, I like Daniel Jacobs. I just didn't like him last Friday and how he treated Gabe. You know what I'm saying? Like Gabe, he deserves respect. You know, he's not just some. He proved that he's just not some club fighter, or he's just not some stepping stone. You know what I'm saying? He can fight. Put some respect on Gabe's name, and my heart breaks for Gabe, yo, because he never gets a fair shake. I can see if he's always the one complaining and it's this that, he never gets a fair shake. He never gets a fair shake. And he always is the one that says, you know, hey, maybe the next one, oh, you know, this one hurt. This one hurt. You could tell it hurt because of the things that Daniel Jacobs said to him. And what he has to overcome as a fighter, and you're not giving him that respect as a fighter, this one hurts. This one hurts. And you can hear it in his voice when this one hurts. This really, really hurt Gabe. So whatever Gabe wanted, they won't call Gabe a sore loser or he's mad, whatever. He deserves that because Gabe has never complained. He never gets a fair shake. And poor Gabe. But shout out to Daniel Jacobs. I didn't see nothing that made you seem like that Gabe was out of your class. You know what I'm saying? How you try to make it seem like he wasn't in your class. I didn't see that. But that's just how I feel, man. Good fight. Good fight. I want to see it again. I don't think that nobody proved nothing, that nobody needs to be talking about going out and getting a big money fight and fighting somebody else. This settle this. I think that this was unsettled.
All right, G.
You know what? So had to write some notes down. Not because of the fight, because of all the errors and all of the weird things that happened over this weekend. We had a 4-minute round error. We had a heavyweight cry in the ring. We had another heavyweight quit. We had a welterweight quit.
It ain't the first time. It ain't the first time.
It all happened in 2 days, just in 2 days. We had the screen say a 6-round fight for an 8-round fight. We had an NBA player die in the ring. And in the final one, we had an announcer say, from Philadelphia, Brooklyn. And I'm like, what?
Pull the Steve Harvey.
Man,
Pull the Steve Harvey.
Exactly. I'm like, fam, you don't do that, man. Like, yo, there was so many obscure things that happened over this weekend. Even, I'm gonna be honest, I like Trill. I also had it a draw. I had a 114-114 for the Rosario Jacobs fight. But this is the difference. I'm gonna be honest, yo, I wasn't really impressed by either gentleman. Now, I give the nod to Gabe because Gabe said one thing that I thought about that I was like, man, that's kind of true. Like, you're talking about the same Daniel Jacobs that fought against Triple G, you know what I'm saying, and Canelo. And he made Daniel Jacobs look basic. And I was like, yeah, that's a good point. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I'm not mad if Gabe got the decision or if Daniel Jacobs got the decision. Either which way, I'm like, yeah, that's whatever, yo. It was like close to me. So, you know, I say just run it back. But I wasn't impressed by either gentleman's performance. Yo, it was a lot of one shots, no combinations. I was shocked by Daniel Jacobs more so than Gabe. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Gabe did what he was supposed to do. The whole time, man, they were gassing Daniel Jacobs. Like, yo, like, he could get a huge payday if he just wins, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, I'm assuming Daniel Jacobs knows that, but he did this performance. To me, that told me he wasn't motivated. Like, I don't think he was motivated to fight Gabriel. It was one of those like, man, let me just get in the ring and just win real quick. You know what I'm saying? And like, even though when the announcer messed up, yeah, Daniel Jacobs did look kind of like disappointed. But I'm like, bro, anybody would be disappointed whether you took the fight seriously or not. You're like, oh damn, I just lost like to him. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just chopping it up to Daniel Jacobs wasn't really focused. You know, he probably thought he was gonna wash Gabriel, and Gabe just surprised the world. So that's why I'm like, yo, just run it back. Although I'm really not that motivated to see the rematch, if in fact the rematch is going to look just like this fight, because this fight was born.
All right, Ned.
Yeah. When I watched the fight, I tried to watch the fight, and all I kept doing was snoozing. I got to the point where I'm watching it, and then all of a sudden I'll just catch myself listening to the fight. I was like, yeah, I gotta put this off. I'll try to get it another day, but I haven't got back to it. So, hey man, the announcer, you just had one job though. You had one job.
He got one job. He blew it, son.
All right, Big Mo.
Philadelphia. I mean, from Brooklyn, New York.
That just goes to show who he thought won the fight.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a good point. You know who? Maybe he thought homie won.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hold on. Oh, shoot.
And
from
from
New York. You know what I'm
like, I didn't watch the fight Friday night, but I watched the clips on it Saturday on YouTube, and I finished up this morning with it. But it wasn't like, you know, one sided. It was, the fight was close enough to have been a draw. For a rematch. So I feel like they should run that back. I mean, and then he could have been looking past Rosado too. You know, he could have been looking past him for the big payday. So just for that fact alone, you gotta run that back and win decisively or lose. But you gotta run that back just to see, you know, if you're ready to move on, take the next step for the big payday or not.
All right. Just because I keep hearing this, like I keep hearing about Danny Jacobs. Maybe he took Rosario's, and this wasn't the best Jacobs, and maybe he took Rosario lightly and all that. Whoever takes Rosario lightly, who's ever washed Rosario, like I don't get that. I just think Rosario really did good. It was a chess match. Jacobs couldn't go in there and blow him out like he blew out other guys that were less than of Rosario. There's been other guys that he went in there and took out earlier. The white ball head guy? He went in there and washed him, but he didn't do that to a Gabe. Maybe Gabe is good. Maybe Gabe learned on the job, and now he's like he said, he's a veteran. He knows what he's doing in there, and you're not just gonna go in there and just wash him. Maybe that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Jacobs thought it was something else, and when he got in there, Gabe was really
figured out what it. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I got a question. Well, Gabe's performance, was it a masterclass, like he said on Twitter?
It wasn't a masterclass, but you haven't seen Daniel Jacobs, like, if it's somebody that was less than him, right? Yeah. Somebody that was supposed to be so much less than him. Danny Jacobs said there's levels to this, right? What Gabe did in that fight with him, you got to put him up there with him.
Yeah, I was about to say, maybe he upped his game though. Maybe he upped his level.
Because you can't, like, what are you gonna, like? I'm not saying like he masterclass. He just beat, but he did things to him that made Jacobs look ordinary. He was hitting him with like little jabs. He was hitting him with the Joe Joyce jab. He Joe Joyced him. That's what it looked like. He Joe Joyced him. He jabbed him, and he couldn't get out of the way. You know what I'm saying? This is the great Danny Jacobs. You know what I'm saying? I like Danny Jacobs, and I do think that Danny Jacobs has a better resume and showed that he can beat better. But this is different. Gabe really fought for this, and I feel like he should hold his head high. And I don't think that people should be making excuses saying that, oh, Daniel Jacobs just had a bad night. Maybe Gabe is just really was on his game and had a good night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'll say this. Gabe, regardless, he still won that night. Because now
Gabe, when he wins every time he steps in the ring, because Gabe gives 110%. Nobody's just beating up Gabriel Rosado. Like that's just what's so funny to me. Like people just had this idea, like Danny Jacobs. I just haven't seen nobody wash him. Yeah, they beat him, but he's been in there with the triple G's. I'm talking about the real triple G. You know what I'm saying? Like, not watered down, took a couple punches. You know what I'm saying? Like, this was when Triple G was Triple G. He was going toe-to-toe with Triple G. He was putting them paws on him until the cut stopped him. Triple G didn't stop him. I don't know. But shout out to Gabe. I just wanted Gabe to get his credit instead of them just dissing him and just say it's Danny Jacobs was so much good. He just had a bad day. He was overlooking, making excuses for him.
But maybe that's how they make it the next fight, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they just definitely need to run it back, though.
No, the zone, man, they invested too much money in Daniel, bro. So
yeah,
that's what it's all about.
It's the business of boxing, man.
They gotta cash it.
Yeah, so for me, I like Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs is a fighter who I think has tremendous boxing skills. He's shown it in fights against Canelo, against Triple G. He's had close fights with them. I think Danny Jacobs is world class. With that being said, I didn't see him outclass Gabe Rosado. That's not what I saw. I scored the fight a draw. I had it 6 rounds apiece. When I watched the fight, I don't feel like Danny Jacobs won the fight, and I don't feel like he lost the fight.
Yeah, true.
The same way with Gabe Rosado. It's just like when I watched this fight, I saw a chess match. And occasionally one guy would get the better, the other guy would get the better. But what I definitely didn't see was what Danny Jacobs was saying in their face-to-face confrontation, how there's levels to this, and he was going to outclass Gabe. And the fact of the matter is, that's what I expected. That's what I thought was going to happen. That's what I tuned in to watch. But that's not what I got. Gabe Rosado had Freddie Roach in his corner. And shout out to Dedham, Massachusetts, Freddie Roach from Dedham, Massachusetts. Freddie Roach in his corner. Freddie had him ready, and he looked good.
Freddie had him ready. That's the next.
Ready,
Freddie had him ready.
Yeah, but Gabe did his thing in there, and Gabe showed he belonged. So to me, I scored the fight a draw. So the fact that I scored the fight a draw is important because when you have a guy like Gabe in the ring, who Trill pointed out has always been on the short end of a stick or in close decisions and close fights, he's definitely been robbed a few times. When he was in that moment, and even me as an observer who's watching the fight, when they said from Philadelphia, I was like, they gave it to him. Oh my God. I couldn't believe it. I was like, yo, this is crazy. And then he said from Philadelphia, from Brooklyn, New York, Daniel Jacobs. And I was like, what the hell did I just watch? And even by the time he cleaned it up, Gabe didn't hear it. Gabe was hugging Freddie Roach because everyone knows all you listen for is the first words from the announcer. If it's a championship fight, all you want to hear is "and the new" or "and still." And once you hear that, you just go crazy. So once Gabe heard from Philadelphia, it was like the greatest feeling of his life. And then instantly it was stripped away from him. And then Danny Jacobs is walking around So for me, I understand his pain. Like his grind in the sport that Trill described, from not having an amateur pedigree, learning on the job, taking all those L's, like, was it 12, 13 L's that he has now? Like he's worked so hard to get himself into a moment where he could compete with a world-class fighter, which I think Danny Jacobs is. I think most of us think he's a world-class fighter. And Gabe on that night, on my card, he got a draw. On Trill's card, he got a draw. On G's card, he got a draw. And he got announced as the winner. And I just can imagine the high he was on. And then that high was short-lived and is instant low. So it's going to be difficult for him to get over it. As far as the rematch goes, I don't think it's going to happen, only because the fight wasn't a good fight. And Danny Jacobs, even if he's on the way out, if this was Danny Jacobs showing his age, if this was Danny Jacobs showing that he's fading, they're going to want to use his star to, boost someone else. So maybe, they'll throw him in with, probably a Charlo, maybe finally, I don't know. But I think they're going to want to use him to, launch someone else. Or, DAZN's going to look to cash out. But like Trill said, I feel for Gabe. Danny Jacobs, I felt like was too cool from school from the build-up to the fight, And you know what they say, if you be too cool, you're going to lose. And he was too cool. He's lucky he didn't lose, but hopefully he learned his lesson.
Please like and subscribe. Let us know how you feel in the comment section. And please check us out on Instagram. No, for real. Check us out on Instagram and check us out on Twitter. And please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. Poor Gabe.
We could have been flawless, flying up to make people's mouths drop jawless. How can 2 years be erased in 1 August? And I have my pride, so I had to get brolic. All in all, I can't call it. Just know you're my queen. Wish I was denim, cause then I be in your jeans. Can't fight fate, and you've been loving me since your teens. But when you can't move forward, you gotta wipe your slate clean.